Student Speak Grin 10 Sigma. Welcome to episode 80 of Transition Tuesday. Today I'm going to talk about the difference between accommodations and modifications. Right now I'm going to switch over to a short slide presentation to share this information. In today's video I will discuss the difference between accommodations and modifications, some examples of both, and some tips for selecting and reviewing accommodations. Determining the difference between an accommodation and modification can be difficult. While IDEA does not define accommodations or modifications, there is some agreement as to what each mean, which is, an accommodation does not reduce learning expectations. Accommodations provide access to content at grade level. A modification, on the other hand, is an adjustment to an assignment or a test that changes the expectation or what the test or assignment is supposed to measure according to the student's IEP. Accommodations change how a student learns the material. Modifications change what the student is taught or expected to learn. If the goal is to have the student learn the same content as all students and produce the same product, you do not want to provide modifications to any assignments or instructional activity related to that goal. Rather, you would want to provide that student with accommodations to complete the assignment or instructional activity. Here is a visual chart of the differences between accommodations and modifications. Accommodations do not fundamentally alter or lower expectations or standards in instructional level, content, or performance area, where modifications do fundamentally alter or lower expectations or standards in instructional level, content, or performance criteria. Accommodations do provide equal access to learning and equal opportunity to demonstrate what is learned. Modifications provide student meaningful and productive learning experiences based on individual needs and abilities. In accommodations, the grading and credit is the same as typical students, where in modifications the grading and credit are different and based on the student's needs and abilities. Here's a list of a few examples of accommodations. Providing summaries of chapters or study guides before tests. Using peer readers. Sign language interpreters for students who are deaf. Computer text-to-speech computer-based systems for students with visual impairments or dyslexia. Extended time for students with fine motor limitations, visual impairments, or learning disabilities. Large print books and worksheets for students with visual impairment. Allowing oral responses instead of written responses. Consider the following when selecting accommodations. Involve the student in selecting, using, and evaluating accommodations. The more input the student has in selecting their accommodations, the more likely the accommodations will be used. The student should see accommodations as adding value to their daily life, not only in school, but for post-secondary, career, and community life. When reviewing accommodations, consider the following tips. Selecting and monitoring the effectiveness of accommodations should be an ongoing process and changes with the involvement of students, parents, and educators should be as often as needed. And the key is to be sure that the chosen accommodations address students' specific areas of need and facilitate the demonstration of skills and knowledge. Some examples of modifications could be, while 6th grade peers are taking a grade level spelling test, the student with modifications is being tested on recognizing functional survival words. Or, while 9th grade peers are learning algebra, the student with modifications is learning money management and counting change. And while 8th grade peers are learning grade level literature and answering comprehension questions, the student with modifications is reading 5th grade literature and answering comprehension questions. For today's bonus, I'll be sending you links to information and resources on accommodations and modifications.
Thank you for watching the video. I hope you use this information to help you determine the difference between an accommodation and a modification and to help your students. Be sure to check your email for the bonus we just sent over. If this is the first time you've ever seen an episode of Transition Tuesday, click the link below to receive the bonus. Be sure to like and share the video and leave a comment or suggestion for a future episode of Transition Tuesday. Have a great week. See you next Tuesday.